The original M, the murderer, was famously the great Peter Lorre, and you had an opportunity to direct Peter Lorre in a very memorable Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode. What was that experience like?
Peter Lorre was one of the greatest actors of all time. He was extraordinary. I'll tell you right away, I directed him in a Hitchcock episode called The Man from the South. Some of you may remember it. It's the cutting off of the fingers.
The lighter, Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen with Peter Lorre. It was a story by Roald Dahl. And it was my good fortune, since I was the producer of it, I decided I was going to direct it. It was a good script. I fastened on the most brilliant idea of how to direct Peter Lorre. Keep your mouth shut. Just don't say anything to Peter, except you come in here, you go out there, you sit down here. Don't touch that performance. Peter was amazing. He fascinated me. Even if I wanted to talk to him, he was utterly mesmerizing. And you know, after the war ended, Brecht went back to Germany. And there's a famous letter that's been published that he wrote to Peter Lorre, who was here, or in Los Angeles, urging him to come back and assume his rightful place as a great actor, either in the theater or in films, whichever. But Peter, it was too comfortable in Los Angeles, and he wouldn't go back, and he didn't. But directing him was a joy, because you just sit back and watch what he would do.
Yeah.
And Steve was absolutely inspired by him, Steve McQueen, and worked beautifully together. But when you ask me about Lorre, I have to say he was a great actor.
Yeah.
Who brought great actors not only elevate the script, but they bring their story, their personal story, with the script. That is like an overtone to the script. When they work, that's their story as an actor. What makes a great actor is that story, assuming he executes the script. Lorre had a story at every flick of the eye, or every move that he made. And I think all of you who have, I'm sure, seen him would agree.
Hal Wallace got on Curtiz. I read a memo while they were making Casablanca, and he says, "Damn it, you gotta get Lorre to follow the script." And Curtiz said, I don't know what he do most of the time, but I just know it's good, so I leave him alone."
Wonderful. Well, I agree totally.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I may, I sense that as a director.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just leave him alone.
Yeah.
Whatever he's doing is
Yeah.
remarkable and enriches the story, enriches the script, because Peter had a story. When he came on, this story came with him.
Absolutely. In looking back and going through your book, I was looking for who really inspired Norman Lloyd at a young age, and I came across a name that my grandfather always mentioned with awe, that a performer that I really didn't get because I didn't see him live, and that was Al Jolson.
Wow.
I think...
Mammy, I want to know, Mammy. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but you were inspired by Al Jolson?
Oh, yes, because I was a brat. Still am, but I was a brat in doing vaudeville of a kind. Oh, terrible. And part of what I used to do is go around and steal material from various performers.
Early Milton Berle.
We were contemporaries in the same acting class.
There you go.
The Stage Children's Fund. And whenever I see Milton Berle, even years later, he'd say, Charles Frohman, Charles Frohman. Doesn't mean anything, I know, but it's 100 years ago. Anyway, Al Jolson, if I may drop a name, I know you'll forgive me, since I had Lawton drop his pen down. Charlie Chaplin once said to me, Al Jolson was the most dynamic figure I ever saw on the stage. That means Jolson singing those incredible songs. If you see him on film now, they're terrible. But in the theater, Jolson used to say when he was in the show, just keep it going till 10 o'clock, then I take over. And that's what he would do. Come out at 10 o'clock alone and hold the audience. I used to sing his songs. Let's pass over that. But I remember seeing him in a show called Bombo. And I'll never forget, he was in blackface, I think, which is verboten now. But I remember coming on eating an apple, walking with a cane, and an old Sultan's outfit. Why he put that on, I don't know. And at the proper moment, he turned the cane over and gulped the apple off stage. I thought that was great acting. But he was dynamite as an individual performer, singer, joke maker, and so on.
Another thing that I found out was that you and Chaplin optioned a book by Horace McCoy. Lovers of film noir will be familiar with that. Tell us a little bit about that. I found that very interesting. I knew nothing about it till I read it.
Well, it's an unfortunate story because Charlie asked me if there was anything I wanted to do, and I wanted to do this book, They Shoot Horses, Don't They? So he told me he would put up the money for it, and we would go halves, and he knew the book, and I was going to direct it, and Charlie was going to write it and produce it, and Sidney, his son, was going to be in it. The girl hadn't come to mind yet. What happened was that Charlie was finishing a picture at the time. It may have been Verdu. And then he decided to take his children, of which there were 5 then, 3 more were born when he got to Europe. Take these children and with his beautiful wife, Una, sail to Europe, and he wanted to show them the world in London that he had been brought up in, of the direst poverty. Halfway across the ocean, the government said he could not come back, or if he wanted to come back, he had to pass a moral turpitude test. Charlie uttered a phrase or two and continued on to Europe, where he was knighted by the Queen, and then went on up to Switzerland, where he ended his days. He never wanted to do They Shoot Horses, Don't They? He said he would never make another picture in America, and he never did.
As you enter your second century and you look back on, literally a century of living and work, at the time, I guess it seemed like a job, and now it's history. Did you have any idea when you were working with the Wells and doing all the things that you did that there would be this fascination and interest of all of these events, all of these people now? And looking back, are you looking back, or are you more looking forward to what's ahead as you've entered your second century?
You've got to look ahead. If you don't look ahead, you're dead. You've got to keep working, got to keep active, you've got to be making mischief. Right. Now I'm lucky, you once in a while you get a job. That was always my philosophy as an actor for all the years back in New York and out here. Is it a job? Do it, do it. You never know what'll happen. I have a picture coming out in July, I think, called Trainwreck, done by Judd Apatow. I do very little in it, because Judd just wanted me in it so he could cut to me at certain curious moments. It was sort of a fun job, since, as everyone knows, he works with no script. You improvise. And of course, some of the improvisations have to be deleted. So I have this picture coming out, and then other things brewing. One has to keep working. I really don't know another way to put it.
Yeah.
You can't sit back and remember the past.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Norman, you coming here is such a treat. And to paraphrase your inspiration, Al Jolson, as Norman enters his second century, he's already there. You ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you, Norman Lloyd.
Thank you.